I guarantee you by the end of this video, you are gonna wish this is what they did for IronHeart instead. I know a lot of people didn't like IronHeart, and this introduction to her character feels much more natural and a lot more comic accurate to what they did in the MCU in Wakanda Forever. So let's set the stage in case you guys missed my other video on how I would have utilized Captain America and Tony Stark after Endgame. Tony Stark would have been in a coma after the events of Endgame when he performed the snap. He's in ICU. None of the heroes know if he's going to wake up or not, so a lot of the characters are visiting him because they feel that may be the last time they see him. So they go pay their visits, they go pay their respects, pay their dues, and visit him in the hospital. One of these characters is IronHeart, Riri Williams. She's one of the top students in the nation right now, and she grew up idolizing and looking up to Tony Stark. And her being one of the top students at MIT, all of her creations and her gadgets and her projects are paying homage to Tony Stark. And with this going around and her being one of the top students, she lands a visit at the hospital to see Tony Stark because she feels that this may be the last time that she gets to see him. So she takes one of her projects, one of her gadgets that she's been working on since she fell in love with Tony Stark. This is the cold open to the series, by the way, where we jump right into it. It starts initially on Riri Williams at her house working on a project as a news broadcast hits her TV. Recent events of the second Thanos attack have left Tony Stark hospitalized and in critical condition. Doctors are saying he may not make it, but we all hope that our Iron Man has an Iron Heart. Riri Williams enters the hospital room. She takes one of the projects that she's been working on since she fell in love with Tony Stark. She's always wanted to be like Tony. She idolizes him, looks up to him. Keep in mind, Tony Stark is still in his coma. For all she knows, he won't even hear a word she's saying. Riri Williams takes out one of her projects that she's been working on since she fell in love with Tony Stark. She's been working on it ever since. And while she's trying to demonstrate how it works and explaining it and breaking it down for Tony Stark while he's still in his coma, she just loses it and she breaks down. I mean, she's hysterical. She just couldn't hold it in. And once she finds it in herself to get back up, she says, "Please wake up. I hope you wake up. I want you to see me be like you one day." Like, come on, dude. Like, come on. Like, that's the cold open to the series right there, Ironheart. And it really establishes that Tony Stark and Riri Williams actually have a connection now in the MCU. And you know how they say some people in comas can sometimes hear and feel what people that are visiting them are saying or doing. Once time fast forward, Tony remembers all of Riri's visits. She didn't just come and visit him once, not twice. She visited him the most. And he remembers this because Tony has a daughter, Morgan Stark. So for this other little girl who just looked up to him like he was her hero. And keep in mind, Riri Williams is sitting on the side of this bed with her childhood hero, still hero, and she has no idea if he's gonna wake up. She's sitting there showing off one of her gadgets, one of her projects that she's been working on since she fell in love with Tony Stark, and because she fell in love with Tony Stark. And while she's doing that, that thought is running through her mind of, he may never even see this. And she just breaks down. So Tony, once he wakens up from his coma, he visits the Williams family and pays Riri and her family a visit. And during this time, her parents are recording all these interactions when she's at the hospital because to Riri, this is still a big moment for her. She's meeting her idol in the hospital because she thinks she may never see him. But here comes Tony Stark walking through her door, paying her a visit, the same that she did for him. Just like in Civil War, when Tony Stark sits down with Peter Parker and they're having a discussion, and it gets kind of serious at one point. And the same thing happens here where Tony Stark and Riri Williams are sitting down. Tony Stark opens up and he almost breaks down, starts crying because he says to Riri Williams, "I thought I was a goner. But you gave me hope. You always walked in with something new, ready to show me. Every word you said filled with aspiration, hope, Everyone else walked in with the same things: tears, depression, flowers. You know, they say you can hear people when you're in a coma while you're under. And I hung on to every word. Every word you said was filled curiosity. No one believed I was gonna make it. Kid, if I'm being honest, I didn't even know if I was gonna make it. You. You believed in me like no one else did. You're a smart kid, Riri. And I believe in you. And she just lights up the room with joy. And while Tony is still in his coma, Ironheart feels that, well, if Tony Stark might die, this is what ignites her into creating the Ironheart suit. Because she feels so strongly that he may not survive. So she creates the suit. She makes her own design in order to honor Tony Stark. And Tony Stark wakes up from his coma. He comes and visits her at her home, and he sees it for himself. This would be the premise of the Ironheart show, introducing her character in a more emotional, tied way. I think this would be a beautiful way to introduce this character, especially tying it back to how I would have utilized Tony Stark after Endgame. But Riri's parents are recording some of these interactions when she goes and visits Tony at the hospital. And Tony watches every single one, and we see him watching him. So he's in the Ironheart show, and he just starts bawling because he felt that even though he made the huge sacrifice, someone still looked up to him as a hero. Even after all this time, one kid looked up to him and wanted to be like him. So he goes and pays her a visit, looks at her suits, look at her projects, and this is the Ironheart series.